Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Yo, everybody. Welcome to Wholesale Hotline. We are live today, Monday, September 27th. And you guys will notice that we do not have Brent Daniels with us today. Brent Daniels, Jamil Damji, and myself are all part of a mastermind out in Tampa, Florida. And Brent went out there a day early. And Jamil and I made the decision, let's keep Wholesale Hotline live. And Jamil and I will step in for Mr. TTP himself. And we're going to do a lot of Q&A today. We're going to go through the Q&A. We're going to answer as many questions in the side chat as we humanly can. And we're going to have a blast today for an hour and a half talking about all things wholesale real estate. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I just got out of a buy appointment, signed a contract in person. It's been a bit for me because Jamil, you and I have been filming a TV show for the last 6 months and basically living a normal life and running our businesses the same way we used to has been basically thrown out the window with the TV show in full filming, right?
Man, it's been crazy town.
So, guys, welcome to Wholesale Hotline. If you are brand new here, please understand that we are going to always request you guys stay super active in the comments. If you're in Facebook, right, we've got Jamil and my Facebook groups are usually pretty active. We'll have a pretty decent amount of people over there. Guys, make your way over to the YouTube channels. There's a lot more people over there. There's a few more features with YouTube that are easier to network and squad up with each other. And that ultimately is the main goal for Wholesale Hotline. It's squatting up and people doing deals together, linking in with each other, getting that community vibe and that community feeling so that we can all overcome the analysis paralysis of getting into this business full time is by having a battle buddy or somebody to work with. So, Jamil, what do you got working on this week, bro? You got a busy freaking week. What do you got going on? What announcements got? What do you want to talk about?
Well, you and I are heading out to Tampa, Florida tomorrow morning to attend the family mastermind, which is going to be amazing. We'll both present there on Wednesday. And then we're right back on a plane back to Phoenix because we've got our premiere this Sunday, October 2nd at noon, Pacific and Eastern. So if any of you guys are not planning to watch the triple digit flip premiere on October 2nd, I don't know why you're here. But really though, we'd love to see all of you guys tune in on Saturday afternoon. So set your DVRs, guys. If you have a DVR, set your DVR, set a reminder in your phone an hour before, 2 hours before, 3 hours before. Make sure you attend. It means a lot to us if you guys would support us there. Super, super important that we get all the eyeballs we can on the triple digit flip premiere. But in addition to that, Pace, I have my Astro Flipping Mastermind this weekend.
I'm very excited about that.
That's going to be incredible. You're presenting there on Seller Direct with your team. And my mastermind students are also going to be attending the premiere. How fun is that? What a cool thing. It just happened to overlap in time. And we just felt like, hey, what an amazing thing for the mastermind attendees to do, to be able to premiere, to attend a red carpet event. So, yeah, all good stuff, man.
Good stuff.
How about yourself? What do you got going on?
Same as you, bro. I'm linked with you at the hip.
Right?
Yeah, you and I've been working hard behind the scenes. We've got this really cool sweepstakes that we're launching here in the next week, where people can earn the partnership of a lifetime, where they can partner on a fix and flip. We find the fix and flip, we fund the fix and flip, we run the fix and flip, and they get to keep all the proceeds from that fix and flip. I'll drop that sweepstakes in there for anybody that wants a chance at winning the sweepstakes. We did it last year. With a girl named Keen, and she ended up winning about
27,000 was it?
Yeah, we only gave her half of the money, right? We were like, hey, we're going to split the profits with you 50-50. And then this year we were like, let's go full on, right? Like, let's give away all the proceeds. So last year, Keen got 27 grand. That was cool. I've still never met Keen in person. Because of COVID, we weren't able to fly her out here, and I still have never met her. So I look forward to meeting her at some point. But we found the house. Okay. We found the house. We funded it with our own money. We ran the construction. We listed the property. We sold the property. And Keen was able to learn the whole entire process, start to finish, by being a partner with us. And then at the end of the day, we made like $54,000 on the fix and flip, and we cut her a check for half of it, wired that money to her. Yeah. And she was like, this is the craziest thing. I can't believe you guys do that. I'm like, we want to give away hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, we want to change people's lives by showing them how real estate really operates. And so this year, Jamil and I are doing a sweepstakes where we are giving away the full proceeds. Last year, we only gave away half. We're giving away all of the proceeds this year. So we're working on that. That's going to be super exciting. I did see this question in here from Will Carter. He says, so what do you guys sell? We sell real estate, baby. And the other thing is Wholesale Hotline doesn't have anything to sell you. We've done a year and a half straight without missing a single week of free 1.5 hour content every single week, breaking down deals, giving you strategies, inside tips, bringing in special guests from all over the country, and changing a lot of people's lives. There's a lot of people from our free content that have made millions and millions of dollars. And so I guess we're selling hope. I don't know. Maybe we're selling momentum. I don't know what we're selling, but right here on Wholesale Hotline, whatever it is we're selling, it's completely free. So really good question. I like up here, Jamil, about tenant occupied or non-occupied properties. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this because you probably deal with this a little bit more than I do. Right here, Daniel Camargo says, which do you find easier to get closed? Tenant or owner occupied deals?
Owner all day.
Why is that?
Because tenants, you have to follow tenant rights, meaning if you are going to wholesale the deal and you're going to have buyers walk through your property, well, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get buyers to get access if it's tenant occupied. If you have an uncooperative tenant, you're going to need to give them 48-hour notice sometimes in order to get to the property. Now, here's the problem with buyers. Buyers don't want to wait 48 hours. They don't want to wait 24 hours. They want to go, if they want to buy a property on Monday, they're going to buy a property on Monday. They're not going to wait till Wednesday. They're going to buy a property on Monday. So they're going to move over to the next wholesaler. They're going to move on to the next list. They're going to move on to the next property. And so I think that it is more difficult to wholesale a tenant-occupied property than an owner-occupied property unless when you are in your negotiations with your seller, the owner, that you explain to them that it's going to be really important that you gain access to the property. And now, again, I've talked about this before on my IG before on a deal tip video. This isn't something that you speak about before you get signatures. Once you get the signatures, that's when you start talking about access and whatnot. But make sure that you have access arranged with an owner, either with an owner occupant or with a tenant. It's important to gain access for wholesale deals. You can kill your deal by not being able to get into it.
Yeah, and I know Wholesale Hotline is primarily for, new investors. Case in point right here, Chris Sandusky has a really great beginner question, which we'll answer next. I know that Wholesale Hotline is primarily for beginners, but Jamil and I both, we do advanced strategy. So a question that we run into, like today, I signed a contract on a deal. I went to the house in person, and We bought the house, 30% of ARV all day long. Great deal. The challenge is the seller has a tenant in there with no lease, just month to month. And every other wholesaler is afraid to touch that property.
Right.
Understandable, right? And I think most people will be like, I'm new. I need to wholesale this. And if there's somebody living in the house, how am I going to wholesale that? Well, as you become more and more advanced, your strategies change a little bit too. We have the resources and the capability. We're going to close on that. We're going to buy it and we're going to sit on it for a couple of months until the tenant moves out.
Right.
That is when having funding and resources, or maybe even linking in with a partner. Like if I went to Keegley, for example, okay, Jamil's company, Keegley, and I said, hey, Jamil, I've got this amazing opportunity and I bought it 30% of ARV. I know I can make money on this thing. Would you guys close on a deal with me and partner with me on a deal and wait for a tenant to get out? Or is that something that's not really in your guys' wheelhouse right now?
We do it all day. I'm holding 4 right now that are occupied that I'm just waiting for the people to leave.
So guys, there's the answers to some of these really challenging things. And it's also with Chris Sandusky, it's the answer to your question I want to get into. You got to go find people that have some of the resources you don't have, right? Jamil has resources even I don't have, and vice versa. Like Jamil will call me on specific deals, like some creative finance deals, or some of his people will. And you find people and you essentially become like the Voltron. You become like the Power Ranger version, the best version of yourself by getting other people's resources and bolting them onto you. So
right.
If you run into a tenant occupied property, it doesn't mean it's the end of the day. It just means you need to find somebody who's willing to close on that. If let's say that you're like, look, I don't know how to get these tenants out. Get the contract. For step one, go get the contract. Get the contract, get the contract, get the contract. Then go find a resource or somebody credible like Jamil at Keegley or me. I really am only doing Arizona deals right now for fix and flips. But Jamil's doing wholesale deals all over the country. And so I think it's a really great resource to get those types of deals and bring it to somebody that has the resources. So Chris, I kind of want to start a comment chain in the side chat about this question. Okay. She says, how do you start the conversation with a seller? All right. This is great. This reminds us the audience that we have for Wholesale Hotline is a very new audience member, right? People that are doing 25 deals a month are typically not coming on Wholesale Hotline. Usually it's people who are doing 0 to maybe 5 deals a month are coming on here, and they want the additional help. They want the resources. They want support, and they want answers. So Chris, let's challenge everybody in the side chat, right? We've got nearly 300 people watching between all the live streams. Guys, I want you to type out your favorite one opening line to a seller. Okay. What is your favorite opening line to a seller? Because Chris needs the help. There's more than one good answer. There's hundreds of good answers, but let's come up with maybe all of the favorites and we'll highlight them on the screen. Chris Sandusky says, how do you start the conversations with the seller? Do you do massive research before each call? Absolutely not. I do not. In fact, if you go watch my seller calls, the least amount of information I get, the better. I don't want information because I want to authentically, organically ask probing questions to extract really good information from the seller. She says, I am using Pin Plus and not sure if anyone has experience with them. So Chris, here's my suggestion. Let's start off in the side chat. Obviously Christopher James is a follower of me. Catch me up to speed is a good line I use. Brandon Mitchell, he says, Brent Daniels script every single time, simple, quick, and straight to the point. Great. Then give us what that line is, Brandon. Not everybody knows that script, so let's put it in here. So here's a good one. I'll throw a good one out, and then we'll keep kind of rattling off on the side, and we'll let Jamil answer another question. Hi, Chris. My name is Pace Morby. I'm a real estate investor in the area. I notice your house looks like shit. Just kidding. You don't ever say that. Don't ever attack their house. So you say, hey, Chris, my name is Pace Morby. I'm a real estate investor in the area. I've got multiple projects going on. Noticed your house. I really am interested in buying it. I want to know what it would take for us to work out a deal for me to buy your house. That's one of 100 different things you could say. Okay. Here's one. Sam Porter says, hey, John, I'm a local real estate investor and I'm interested in learning more about your property. That one's a good one. Peyton Burke says, that's my kind of question. They don't have the cash to put down on a down payment. However, I would rather be, okay, people are talking in the side chat, which I absolutely love. So thank you so much, guys. Essentially, Chris, we'll wrap it up with this one. Terrence King says, you want the seller to give you information, right? Go watch Brent Daniels' YouTube video all about the 4 pillars: timeline, price, motivation, and condition of the property. You want to ask questions that gives you information about those 4 things. Ooh, this one's a pretty good one. Hello, Jamil. We haven't met before, but I was wondering if you'd be open to an offer on your home. Jamil, do you have any good ones?
Well, I actually like a lot of the openers that I've heard you come up with, like, hi there. Do you know who Tom Hanks is?
Guys, on the TV show with Jamil, we went door knocking and we played this little game. It was really funny. We go, who can say a specific word before the other person wins, like who gets to choose lunch. And so the word we chose was anchovy. And we were thinking about a different word. I can't remember what it was, like.
But you wanted it to be pickle, and I was like, no, it can't be pickle, because I know you know how to use pickle. We got to use a word you've never used before.
I could have easily used the word pickle in my opening line. I could have said something like, hey, I saw your overgrown weeds, and I just thought maybe you were in a pickle. I could have said something really simple like that in the first line. But you chose anchovy, and then we go up to the front door. We knock. This is so funny. Jamil does such a good job at this. And the word was anchovy. So knock, knock, knock. Lady comes to the door, and I'm sitting there trying to build rapport, and Jamil goes, excuse me, does your dog like anchovies?
She was like, what? I'm like, I know, random question, but I just learned today that my dog likes anchovies, and I don't think that that's a normal thing. So have you ever given your dog anchovies before? She's like, oh, I've never tried. I'm like, well, maybe that's something you should try. Anchovy.
Dude, you ended up, and then what was funny is A&E ended up doing a anchovy counter on the screen. It was like ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. I think you said anchovy like 5 different times. It was freaking hilarious.
So good. But I do love the, hi, I'm Jamil Damji. I'm a real estate investor. I'm actually doing projects very close to a property that you own. And I was wondering if you've had any thoughts about potentially selling that property.
I like that one a lot. And I don't think there's a real magic opening line. I do think I'm going to give some criticism on this one. Okay. Sharon Lee says, hi Pace, have you thought about letting your property at such and such go? What I like about that is that you actually open the conversation. What I don't like about that is that indicates that they're basically letting go of the property, which means you're getting a crazy, crazy good deal. And you don't necessarily want to start the conversation off like that. Like, have you ever considered letting go of that property? So letting go of, I think, indicates something a little bit derogatory. I probably wouldn't go that route. What's your thoughts on that, Jamil?
I agree. I mean, it depends on if they're going to read into that or not. I think that you're right. It does sound like letting go means that they're going to leave money on the table, or they're not maximizing their, what their take could be on the house. And I think it's also list dependent, right? So when I'm talking to landlords, I'm essentially wanting to open up, asking about if they have any headache properties. Right. So I want to get to what headaches can I solve of yours? What properties do you have right now where you might have a tenant that's not paying, or they're destroying the house? I'm in the business of buying headaches. Sell me your headache.
I really like that opening line. So last week we had a couple of, actually, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but we had Steve Crawford and another TTP student talking about, working with each other and squatting up. And what happened is he cold called. He said, "Hey, are you interested in selling the house on 123 Main Street?" The seller's like, "Absolutely not. I live in this house. I'm not going to sell you this house." And the TTP student, instead of getting off the phone, he said, "Okay, well, I'm in the business of buying, distressed real estate or challenging or headache properties. Do you have any headache properties that you can let go of?" He didn't say let go, but you have any headache properties I can help you with, just like Jamil said. And then that one question moved the conversation forward. He ended up getting a mobile home park under contract. And now I'm the proud owner of that mobile home park because of that one question. So I really like that. Hey, I'm in the business of buying headache properties. Do you have any headache properties that we can take a look at? Shaq Williams says, "Good afternoon. This is Shaq. And I know this call is random, but the reason for that is my partners and I are interested in expanding our portfolios into your neighborhood. And would you consider an offer?" I like this, but I also have a little bit of a critique. When you're talking to a homeowner, it's their home, right? They're not another investor. So I can talk to Jamil about expanding my portfolio, but when I start talking to a homeowner about my
Portfolios. Yeah.
man, that's like,
Not
I wanna
relatable.
yeah.
The thing, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think you're heading down this path Pace. It's how do you find resonance with the person on the other end of the phone? And that means they've got to relate to you. And if you're rich, you have a portfolio of how this, like you're talking about the one major asset this person's owned. And now you have a portfolio of those assets. That puts you in a completely different space from the person that you're on the other line with. And so I like to put myself in a spot where my audience and I can, or whoever's talking to me on the other line are exactly seeing me eye to eye, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a really great point. Here's another good point along those same lines. Pauline says, "Some people have said not to say you're an investor because people don't like that. Better to say you're a local buyer. What do you think about that?" I love that. Laura and I, for a long time, my wife, Laura, we would tell people, they'd say, "Well, what's your company name?" And my wife would say, "Oh, it's just me and my husband. Just me and my husband. We're a local, just ma and pa shop,
Mm-hmm.
like a little shop, just buying houses here and there." And she would just deflect that question. Like, "What's your company name?" "Oh, it's just me and my husband. We're a little ma and pa shop." One other really good question I like to say this is I say this. "Hey, Jamil, my name is Pace. I'm representing a few families that are looking to move into the area. And we're looking for some homes that we can get. We love the school district. We love the area. And I'm just wondering if you or any of your neighbors are looking to sell in the near future."
Love that.
Because technically, even though I'm not a realtor, I'm not a realtor. Jamil's not a realtor either. We are technically representing our future buyers by buying a home, and then we are fixing and flipping it, and we are intentionally developing and improving that property for an end buyer, a family that's going to move into that neighborhood. So I'm not lying. I'm not manipulating. I'm just literally saying, "Hey, I'm representing a future buyer that wants to live in this area. I'm wondering if there's any way we can have a conversation about your home." Right? We locked up a deal a couple months ago where I called the seller, and this was my line. I said, "Hey, seller, my name is Pace Morby. I really want to buy your house. What will it take to buy your house?" Straight to the point. "I really want to buy your house," in a positive way. Told them my name, didn't jump into company name, didn't tell them what I'm doing, just told them right out of the gate, because some people's personalities are like, get to the point. "Hey, seller, my name is Pace Morby. I really want to buy your house. Are you interested in ever selling that thing? It is a wonderful home." Open the conversation. Super positive. Tell them exactly why you're calling. And I would say you guys need to practice these, right? Cyrus says, "Tactical empathy." I like that. Check out Chris Voss and the Black Swan Group. Good stuff. Jonathan Newsom says, "We got away from saying we're an investment company. Instead, we say we're a real estate solutions company." I like that. Okay, so Michael Buckley says, "What do you guys say when people go right for your last name before answering anything else?" Michael, what is that? I'm not quite sure what that means. Does that mean
I think he's saying, "What's your last name?" So if you call, "Hi, I'm Pace. Pace who?"
Morby.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. Just give them your last name. Unless I am misunderstanding, Michael. If I am, then tell me how I am.
Rami says, is it bad to use these examples in a text? Absolutely not. It is not bad to use these in a text. Okay. In fact, one of the greatest things that you can do, let me give you guys a couple of lines for foreclosures. Okay. Foreclosures are really, really good because people are in pain. By the way, dude, can I show you something really quick? Check this out. This is like the craziest thing. Tempe code violation map. Okay. People do not realize how many stinking opportunities there are with like free resources. So let's show the peeps some good stuff. Okay.
I got people saying, "Hey, my mic must be really bad for people to be commenting that this one is good."
Oh, your mic. Well, your last time you didn't have your mic plugged in. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. So Tempe code violation map. Check this out. We're going to pull this up. Code enforcement. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Check this out. Guys, this is one city full of violations. See all these violations? These are code violations. Purple are long-term under investigation. Green is brand new. So look at this little pocket right here. Just tons of code violations over and over and over. Guys, this is so simple, right? An opening line. Look, detailed violations. Can you see this, Jamil, or do I need to make it bigger? You see this?
Oh yeah, I know that little part. That's fantastic. That's a little fantastic pocket.
Oh, it's a killer pocket, right? Like this whole little area right here by ASU.
Yeah.
So the thing is, guys, you can click on these code violations and you can see, okay, date opened, it's under investigation. Here's the address, here's the case number, and you can see exactly what it is. Uncultivated weeds in gravel landscape or lawn higher than 12 inches. Okay. You know exactly what's going on with their property. This is free. It took me 3 seconds of a Google search. 3 seconds of a Google search to find that. So what I would suggest for you guys is do an opening line for these people if you end up texting them and just say something like, hey, saw your, this is a really great opening line because you want to lead with value. Hey, my name is Pace. I saw you on the code violations list with City of Tempe. Is there any way I can help you with your violation? I like to serve people that are in distress. That's it. And then I've been, in the past, I've taken Asher out and pulled weeds in people's yards just to serve them, right? There's elderly people. There's people out there that genuinely need your help. So if you guys get out in the streets and actually look at code violations and have conversations with people, sometimes you just got to ask a question about, hey, is there any way I can help you? I saw that you were on the public database for a code violation. How can we help you? Is there any way we can serve you so you can get off that code violation list? Robin says, I don't think we have that map form, but I love that. Yes, you do. Your city might not have it, but there are companies that sell code violation lists. Okay. JC Wholesale says, how do you approach a seller that is in pre-foreclosure? Now, a seller in pre-foreclosure, this is a good one. So I'm going to pull up YouTube on this one. And I did a really good video with Brent last year called Pre-foreclosure Mastery. And I'm going to answer that. Pre-foreclosure mastery. And I'll just give you guys that actual video. It's a year ago. Brent and I did this, and it is my script and the exact way that we handle pre-foreclosures. And I will give it to you guys in the side comments. Cool. Jamil, do you recommend PropStream or batch leads for driving for deals, skip tracing, accurate property info, and where can I listen to the moon?
Love these questions. So Sasha, I actually do recommend batch leads, and I recommend batch leads over PropStream for one specific reason. I actually helped batch leads create their comping tool. And so for my opinion, I believe that they do a superior job when it comes to being able to help you value your properties. So first and foremost, that's what I like batch leads for. But when you're talking about skip tracing, and I'm going to say this, and I mean this with the most respect possible, I don't think that there's a better skip tracing company in the United States than batch leads. Honestly, I think that their skip trace data is, we've tested it against all the other sources out there, and they routinely come up with higher hits, better quality data. And so for skip tracing, I absolutely recommend them. And same with accuracy for property information. And Sasha, if you'd like to listen to the Moon podcast, season 1 is on my YouTube channel. Feel free to give it a listen. It's just all the astro flipping family members that I've worked with that are crushing it. And that's just a handful, just a sprinkle of them. There's so many more.
What are you doing with To the Moon? Is that you finished season 1? Are you getting ready to do a season 2?
I am. I was actually hoping to be able to do season 2 while you and I had a break between season 1 and season 2 of our television show. And that doesn't look like we're going to get a break.
Why not?
Well, I don't know if we're even allowed to talk about it.
I mean, who are they going to tell?
Yeah, I guess, right? So we will be having a second season, guys, of Triple Digit Flip on A&E. So wonderful news we received on the last day of filming our first season that we'll be coming back for a second. How fun.
Love it. Here's a good question. This is something to teach urgency. I wish I could answer this in more depth. My average time that I take to answer a question in my mentorship in sub 2 is now down. I've lowered it from 42 minutes to answer one question. I'm down to 28 minutes. I'm doing way better. But I just love deep diving on stuff like this because I want you to walk away with a full understanding of what's going on. So let's say that I have a seller. Your question is, how do I create urgency in this situation? Wife going through divorce. She has already agreed to my price for her four properties. She keeps telling me she hasn't spoke with her husband. Okay. So here's what I would do. I would try and flush out and see if that's really her issue, her challenge, or her hang up. And I would say, hey, let's say her name is Tanya. Hey, Tanya, it's Michael here. I just want to let you know I've got limited funds for the next 30 days. I think just because we've been going back and forth, it doesn't sound like you're quite ready to move forward. So I'm going to allocate those funds to helping another family right now. When would be a good time for me to follow up? Because I don't want to push you. And I've got other families that really are begging for me to buy their homes. You pull away. And you pull away in a strong way of like, I have other opportunities, right? The way to get the pretty girl at the prom to go with you to the prom is to not beg her. The way to get the pretty girl to go to prom with you is to say, hey, I've got this other girl that really wants to go with me. If you're not interested, I'm going to go use my corsage with her.
It's perfect.
Right?
Yep. I've always loved that. In fact, we routinely use lines very similar to that, Pace, in that, look, we're an investment company, or we have certain amount of funds earmarked for your purchase, but it doesn't sound like you're actually ready to sell. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move forward with purchasing another house unless you're planning on signing the contract within the next 15 to 20 minutes. And I would give them a timeline. Let them know when your cutoff time is, and then when they need to take action by. It doesn't have to be 15 to 20 minutes. It could be by the end of the day or whatever it is, but give them a full stop. Look, you'd rather know than not know.
Right.
You'd rather know than not know. If they're not ready, they're not ready. That doesn't mean you stop following up with them. That just means that they're not signing the contract today, or they are signing the contract today. And if they aren't signing the contract today,
we got a contract last week from a 2-year follow-up.
Right.
A 2-year follow-up, guys. And if anybody saw my post this morning, I woke up and I had this DM somebody sent me, and they said, man, this business doesn't work. And I said, well, how long you been trying? And they go, well, basically like every couple of weeks I'll jump in and I'll cold call for 8 straight hours. And I'm like, okay, every couple of weeks you'll jump in and just go ham. right? It's like the person that doesn't work out for a month. You go out and you work out so hard that the very next day you're so sore you don't want to work out a second day in a row, right? So I basically was like, what is the definition of consistency? I personally believe that you can't say you've been consistent until you've done something 91 days in a row. And on that 91st day is the first day you can legitimately say you've been consistent. Now, the 92nd day, the 93rd day, and so on, those are additional days you've been consistent, but you have not earned the right to say you've consistently done something until you've done it for a quarter of a year, a quarter of a year, right? So I would say follow-up is so massive in those situations. What Jamil was saying is, I can handle a no. I love a yes, but I absolutely despise a maybe. I will not tolerate a maybe. And here's something you got to remember for yourself when you're talking to sellers. Sellers will do exactly what you allow them to do. And if you tell them it's okay to give you a maybe, then they're going to give you a maybe. But in your first conversation, you say, hey, look, if at any point this is not a good fit for either you or myself, I think we should just have a common agreement between the two of us that we just tell each other, hey, this is not a good fit. Let's touch base in 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. Are you okay with that, Jamil? Are we on the same page with that?
Right.
Guys, that's called an upfront contract. And when you establish an upfront contract, that abolishes and gets rid of all the crap that you're currently dealing with lack of urgency and people ghosting you. When people say, what do I do? The seller's ghosting me. I'm like, here's what you do. You invent a time machine and you go back 10 days ago when you started the conversation, and you should have put an upfront agreement in there, and you didn't. Jamil, I've got a couple questions for you. I'm going to answer this one really quickly. Jose Luis says, Pace, why would a homeowner seller finance a home versus sell today and avoid capital gains tax because they use it as a primary residence, married, and does not exceed $500,000? Jose Luis, this is a great stinking question. It always comes down to the same reasons. Let me give you a little bit of a something here. Let's say that a homeowner sells their house today on the market. Jamil, if I sell my house today on the market for $500,000, what would you say after realtor commissions and all that kind of stuff? What do you think I'm going to get in my pocket after the $500,000 it sells?
Probably got 8% in total cost.
Yeah. So what would you say? Maybe 40 grand. So I'd walk away with $460,000.
Right.
Okay, so I've got $460,000 I get in my pocket today through a traditional real estate transaction, okay? Regardless of taxes, regardless of anything else, here's what seller finance does for me. If I sell this at $500,000, guess what? I not only get $500,000, I also get any interest on top of that. So think about this. Let's say a seller sells their house to you for $500,000 at 3% interest on a seller carry. Okay, what is that for that seller? Let's go to, let's go to bankrate.com real quick. Okay, and let's find out exactly what that seller stands to gain. Okay, so bankrate.com, and you're going to learn that the seller is going to make so much more money selling it to you. They're selling it this way. Mortgage calculator, Bankrate, here we go. 330, let's go to 500 at zero down, even if it's zero down, 30 years, interest rate, boom. Okay, great. Amortization schedule. This seller stands to make a ridiculous amount of money. This seller stands to make, oh my word, that's a lot of money. Wow. Roughly another $500,000.
Crazy.
So that's the reason why. $540,000 of reasons why. A seller selling to you on seller finance is going to get a larger return with you selling it to you with an interest rate than they ever could. Now, the other thing is some people will say, well, that homeowner could take that $460,000 cash and go reinvest it into something else. Okay, show me one homeowner that knows what to do with their money. Show me one homeowner that knows what to do with their money and how to invest it. Show me one. Okay. So there's the answer. They make far more money. Nathan Wall says, can you comp a property for me, Jamil? And I would say Jamil probably would be ecstatic to do that for you.
Sure. What do we got?
Daryl Ellison says $258,000 over 30 years. So Daryl Ellison is correct. That seller would end up getting a total of $758,000 for that house instead of $460,000. So there's a difference of $318,000 extra money. So Nathan Wall, please put your address in there so that Jamil can comp that property. That would be amazing.
We got a few people with some. Michael Diaz has a $20,000 deal he just did. What else we got? We got no bell, but we're just ringing the bell in spirit for you guys.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Samuel Aronoff, this is one of my favorite things, okay? So let's go back to scarcity mindset. One of the biggest things that I've learned from Jamil is mindset, okay? And don't put yourself in this situation where you have this scarcity mindset. And one of the best ways to do that is you have a surplus of leads. Jamil, do you know about one-itis? Do you ever have anybody in your world that ever runs into one-itis? Where they have one lead they're working on and they're married to that one lead and they can't think about anything else but that one lead?
It's typically when people are just first coming into Astro, or they come on to straight out of comping and they've got a property and they want me to comp it. And I tell them it doesn't make any sense. And then they start trying to get into like an argument with me in the comments about it. And it's like, or somebody, finds this like $19 million multifamily deal that on Facebook, and they've spent the last 2 weeks messing with it. Yeah. I see that all the time. It's
one itis. You got one lead and you got an itis, you got a disease, and you're addicted to that one deal. So that what happens is when you're negotiating with the seller, you are so fearful of actually saying the things that you should be saying that you just become like a little coward on the phone because you're afraid of screwing up this one lead you have. Because if you screw up this one lead you have, then what do you have? You have nothing.
Right.
And so it's more fun to have a mental belief and wish and hope that that one deal is going to magically work out. I do this frequently with like brand new students that come into my program. They'll come in, they'll ask me a question. I go, let's call the seller right now. Let's call the seller right now. All my students in the side chat have seen me do this hundreds of times. I go, let's call the seller right now. And sometimes, like we had a student, Ted Miller, the other night. It was 8:00 at night, Arizona time, which means 11:00 at night in North Carolina. Ted Miller comes in, he goes, I got this really funky deal. I don't know what to do with it. And I go, let's just call the seller. He goes, okay. And I lock up the deal. I end up paying Ted Miller an assignment fee. And now it's a sub 2 deal that I own in North Carolina. That's an Airbnb. That was just like 30 days ago. But then there's other students that come in and I go, let's call the seller. They go, oh, no, let's not call the seller. I'm like, let's call the seller. You want to know how to negotiate. I'll just call the seller and we'll negotiate right now. Just to find out, the seller goes, no, I'm not interested in selling my property at all. I don't know where you're even coming up with that. So it's not that I'm criticizing people that are brand new. You just guys got to realize the strongest value that you can bring to your business and the biggest ability to negotiate is having a surplus of leads so that when a seller is going awry, you go, yeah, it's not a big deal. And you have the power mentally to pull away. Jamil, you want to comp this property?
Yes, sir.
Andres Bastardo says, that was such a good call. Dude, I called this lady, as you're pulling this up, Jamil, I called this lady. She was a 63-year-old lady, Jacqueline, sleeping in a sleeping bag in the middle of her house. She had already packed up her house because the wholesaler locked her up at way too high of a price. Oh,
that's the deal. That's the deal you did with an Astro student as well.
Yeah, Astro student brought the lead. Or no, what happened is a wholesaler locked up a deal. The Astro student runs into the deal and is like, you locked this up way too high. Let me go find a sub 2 student. And your Astro student brought it to my sub 2 student and I paid them an assignment fee and I ended up buying the deal.
Yep. He just got paid. He talked about it on the last coaching call.
That's amazing. Crystal Frangos says, looks like Jamil is at a comedy club, the background curtain.
It's so dumb. All right, so we got a 3-bed, 1-bath, 14 square foot house in
Jamil,
Long
go
Valley.
full screen on that. Click on the full screen. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, of course. You see it?
Yeah,
Is that better?
Boom. Yeah, looks great.
Wonderful. 3-bed, 1-bath, 14 square feet in Long Valley, New Jersey. This was sold back in 2018 at 145. The Zillow estimate on it is 327. Let's check the quick comps real fast. So quick comps here, I think only number 3 and number 2 are viable. Why? Because number 1, 4, and 5 are across a major road. So number 3 and number 2, number 3, it doesn't have a square footage on it. So, but it's sold for 415, so not super helpful. Number 2 also doesn't have a square footage on it, but it looks large and it's sold at 342. So not the best from Zillow that way. Let's look at the map and see what we can find. Now, this is tough because this is one of these parts of New Jersey, Pace, that doesn't have disclosure of square footage. Look at this. See this?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. We can't see the sizes of very few of these houses are actually showing us the sizes. So let's give batch a try if we can.
All right. While you pull that up, I'll throw in here a couple answers.
Okay.
Juan Wingington, we would be happy to have Jamil comp a couple of properties for you guys. So if you guys have a couple of things for us to comp, let's have Jamil do that. Be happy to do it. We'll give you a taste of what his show straight out of Compton is like on Sunday. He legit just comps properties for people back to back to back to back. It's been a blast. I was on his show last week.
We got to get you back on there, Pace.
Oh, it was fun. It was a blast.
People missed you this week too. All right. What's that address again? Oh, I got it. I've got it. 197 East Mill Road. All right. So it's a 14 square footer, but we're not seeing bed bath. Let's look at what if they give us more for comps here with respect to size. There's not too bad. While I'm doing this, Pace, can you tell me the population of this town in New Jersey?
What's the name?
Long Valley.
Long Valley, New Jersey. Okay. Population, oh my gosh. 2,200 people, bro.
Yeah. 2,200 people. So here's a great little sale. We've got a beautifully renovated 1470 square foot 1900 build. It's about the same build generation as our 1920 build. So I think this is a viable comp. It can be worth up to 515. Now, we're talking about something built in the early 1900s. So this is going to be a full gut remodel, full gut. I don't know the condition of this property, but let's just say if it was worth
Nathan Wall says the property was burned down, so it will be.
Oh, it's all land value.
Yeah, it's land value.
New construction. So, well, thanks for sharing that piece of information with us, Nathan. So typically when we're talking about new construction, we need to be buying the land at about 20% of what the new construction value would be. And so the high,
so
and
if,
how do we,
I could sell it for $1 million. I want to buy that piece of land for how much?
20% of that.
So $200,000.
Correct.
Love it.
Correct.
And it used to be 30%, but now the construction costs are so expensive, you've bumped that down, right?
It's 30% on infill land. So that hasn't changed. So that's in very high demand, high appreciation areas. If you're going to tear down and rebuild in Scottsdale or Arcadia or, some parts of Southern California, wherever there's heavy activity, you would call that an infill lot. And that's still at 30%. But when you're talking in the outskirts out here, like we are. What did you find the population of Long Valley, New Jersey to be, Pace?
2,200, bro.
Yeah.
There's more people at my local Walmart right now than live.
There's
going to
be more people at our premiere than there are living in this town. So what I'm saying is, think about the access to buyers here. How many buyers are actually doing deals in Long Valley, New Jersey? Does this have a lot of liquidity? Does this area of the country have a lot of liquidity to it? No, it doesn't, right? So
what does that mean, though? What does a lot of liquidity mean for somebody that's like, well, why shouldn't I be investing in this area?
Right. Great question, Pace. The reason why you shouldn't be spending time there is because people aren't investing there.
So that's like basically selling T-shirts where in the land of where people only wear hoodies.
Correct. Or selling hoodies in the middle of summer in Phoenix, Arizona.
It doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense, right?
It doesn't matter how good of a deal or product you have. There's just no buyers for that product.
Very few, right? And if you see here, looking at what we've got here, I mean, it appears to me that the new construction would not sell for higher than 500 grand, because look, that's like basically the highest sale we have here is something at 570. I don't even know what that property is. It looked a little bit weird, but 515, that's the benchmark. So if you're looking at, what would the land value of that be? 500 at 20%, 100 grand at most. But even then, locking that up at 100 grand, where are the buyers? Who's going to want to buy that?
Right.
So just keep that in mind. And I try to explain this to folks that are just getting started in wholesaling. I know it's really tempting sometimes to go into the outskirts because you think there's fewer people working there, less competition. You think, okay, if there's less wholesalers here or less people buying houses here, I should be able to go and get a good deal. You're probably right. But who are you going to sell that deal to?
Right. That's a really great point. So
I've got another address.
Yeah, there's a couple of addresses on the side chat. Here's a good one. Stephen Allen, good student of mine. Why don't you answer that question for us, Jamil?
Stephen Allen asked, on vacant land, what kind of questions should my VA ask? Good. Don't have your VA ask questions on vacant land, especially if it's big parcels of vacant land. Here's why. There is, when you're talking vacant land where they're going to be doing large developments, like say you got like 30 or 40 acres, first and foremost, what you need to make sure is that you have a long enough escrow period on those properties in order for whoever to get their entitlements. And so I would say that aside from asking size and zoning, I would have everything else be a conversation that you have, Stephen. I think asking if there's utilities to the property is actually okay for your VA to ask, but I think beyond that, you know what? I think he's got them here. Zoning, terrain, and utilities. That would be as far as I would have my VA go, as far as I'd have them go. I think that you need to get onto the phone with that seller from that point. Once you know the zoning, once you know the size, the type of land it is, and if there's utilities to the area, then you need to get in there and structure that in a way that will make sense for people. Because I'll tell you, I've done land deals, and not a lot of folks that talk about land deals that I've seen on the internet have actually gone forward and sold a big chunk of land to a publicly traded national home builder. I have. And I can tell you that they won't just buy it and close in 2 weeks. They want long escrow periods. They're not going to close until they have their complete entitlements done. And that's every national home builder in the United States. So when you're talking about these types of deals, you have to make sure you structure them with the kind of time frame that's going to allow a national home builder to come in and take the deal down. I made the mistake of actually buying and closing on the land and then selling to a national home builder. And it took me over 2 years before the property closed, and it ate away every dime of my profits.
So a couple of things I want to touch base on just real quick. Okay. Recently, I was doing this training, this Asher training, right? Because Jamil and I have this sweepstakes that we have coming out, and I was basically just giving people free game I ended up doing about 20 hours of training with Asher and the community for free on these Zooms. And Burton from PropStream came in and lit my brain on fire the other day. He was talking about how to find markets where buyers are super active. Okay. And he showed us through a heat map exactly where to find markets that you want to invest in. So guys, I'm going to give you that Zoom. It's called Asher Zoom Saturday. I ended up doing it on September 11th, and it's in the side chat right now. It's a Zoom link. It's about 2 hours of training that I did for free. It is unbelievable. It's completely free. And I was sitting there watching Burton from PropStream go, you don't want to invest here because of this, and you don't want to invest here because of this. Here are where all the buyers are located. So he was like, go to Denver. And Jamil knows this better than anybody, honestly. Boise's super hot. Like, it just, the software has a heat map and it shows you where all the people are buying and where all the active buyers are. And we showed you guys again. By the way, Darcy, look at what Darcy says. Says re-watching it again. Thanks for the video compilation. So we created a video compilation of show you how to go get your first deal for free. I didn't charge anybody any money for that. I just gave it for free, about 20 hours. And by the way, Jay says that was amazing. A lot of people went and watched that. It was crazy. Brian Catalan says the heat map was crazy. So guys, if you want the recording, I'm putting in the side chat. It's a free Zoom. It doesn't go to like a sign up or a webinar. It is literally just us giving you free game. Okay. Jamil, you want to comp some other properties?
Sure.
Okay, cool. There's a whole bunch of them in here. Let me pull them up here. Oh, here's one. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Michael Diaz.
1912 Funston.
1912 Funston Avenue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's interesting. I feel like when I'm watching you on Straight Outta Compton, I get a lot of eastern cities, a lot of New Jersey, New York. Do you get a lot of New Jersey, New York?
Yep.
Why is that?
Just a lot of people wholesaling down there.
Is that a poppin' spot?
It's popping. There's a lot of houses that need help.
Dang.
All right. 1912 Funston Street in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a 3-bed, 2-bath listed property at $65K. It's 1456 square feet. It's just brand new on Zillow. Hold on a second. Here's something I want to show you. You see the number of views and the number of saves?
Yes.
That's a very high ratio. That tells me that there's a lot of eyeballs and a lot of people saving this property. So this could be a potential deal. I don't know what it means, but it could be a potential deal just off of me looking at this information here. It looks like this is a popular house. What else do we got? They say in the description that it's a house in need of remodeling. There's information there for a seller, single family zoning, 1950 build, sitting on a 2908 square foot lot. Let's check it out.
Guys, while Jamil's doing this, if you want us to comp your properties, we've got another 30 minutes or so. So why don't you guys throw your addresses in there and I'll pick out a couple of people. Tell us how awesome Wholesale Hotline is. Here's what I'll do. If you guys have made a review on iTunes or Spotify, we will comp your property. How about that?
Awesome. I just need the year build here. 1950. Got it.
Jamil, how many properties do you think you've comped in your life?
Man, honestly, 10,000, maybe more.
It's got to be more.
More, way more. I don't know, dude. Thousands. I can, there was one point where I was comping over 200 houses a day. I don't do that anymore. I've got a team now, but it's been a lot.
Hey, Brittany Berryman, she says, I'm considering a sub-2 deal for a property I personally own. Does this mean the buyer pays me directly or do they pay my bank the mortgage and me the interest? So Brittany, why don't you reach out to me on my Instagram and I'll have a conversation with you and see what you're doing. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish because if you're selling,
I know what it is.
What is it? She's trying to sell or finance it?
She owns a house in Texas. She wants to sell it, and she asked me what would be the best way for her to sell it. Should she sell it just straight across because it might have about $10,000 or $20,000 in equity, or no, it had more than that. It had a few $1,000s in equity now. I think maybe she was going to walk with like 20,000, or is there a different approach? And I said, well, why not an owner finance or a subject to? She has a note on it, so it couldn't be owner finance.
It would be a wrap. It would be a wrap. So she would have part sub to, part seller finance, and she would wrap those two notes together and sell it on one note. Right.
And that makes a ton of sense for her. So she wants to do it. So that's why she's asking you that question.
Love it. And the challenge with Texas, Mrs. Berryman, is that Texas property taxes are so blasted high that trying to turn any property into a rental in Texas is really challenging. So either you want to do an owner finance or you want to do an Airbnb or something that has crazy high cash flow. Pauline says, can you do sub 2 or wrap in Texas? Yes, you can do sub 2 and wraps in every single state in the United States. The only thing you cannot do in Texas is you cannot do land contracts for deeds, essentially executory contracts, which is a inside baseball term in creative finance. So a little challenging for a lot of people that don't know. Texas is challenging to also do lease options in. So I don't really mess around with lease options in Texas.
The ARV on that Pittsburgh property is going to be about $145,000. Now, it's going to be a full gut remodel, full gut. So they're asking 65. The ARV is about 145. I would be at about 30% of ARV for that. So I would tell you to go lock that thing up at around 40K, 40 to 45K. So they're about 20K overpriced, but I think not so far overpriced that you couldn't make that deal happen. So go get it.
So let's say I get a contract. What do I do then? Like, how do I go find a buyer? What should I do?
Well, first and foremost, you could reach out to your local Keegley. If there's a franchise in your area, then we'd love to help you out. If there isn't one, and we're not everywhere, but if we're not in your area, what I would do is I would look around my property and see what properties were remodeled near the area where I have my contract. And the people that fixed and flipped close to your property are going to be a great starting point for you to communicate with, right? So these guys have already done a deal there. They've already fixed and flipped in the neighborhood. They know it. They know the comps. They know the nuances. And so they'd be open to having a conversation with you. Another way I would go out and find a buyer is I'd look at the same Zillow map. Let's just look at it right now. Hold on, I'll screen share.
While you pull that up, All in the Hustle says you can't do land in Texas. No, All in the Hustle, I said you can't do a land contract, which is an executory contract in Texas. A land contract. Of course you could do land in Texas. Of course. Peyton Burks has a burning question after you do your sharing of your screen.
Can you see the screen, Pace?
I sure can.
Okay. So what you see I've done here is I've put the address in to Zillow and I've said, okay, show me all the for rents in the area. Now there's not a lot. There's not a lot of people, but here they are, not in this specific neighborhood, but there's a ton of for rents over here. And so at first and foremost, I'd want to know, why are people not holding a lot of rentals over here? Is it something to do with the area? But these parts here aren't super far away from where your subject property is. I would find out the addresses of each and every one of these, and I would skip trace the owners of these properties, and I would see if they'd be interested in purchasing another rental nearby where their other rental is located. So that's how you would find a buy and hold buyer. The next thing I would do is I would be looking at the MLS daily, and I would see what properties got listed on the MLS today that appear to be a fix and flip. And I would then skip trace the owner of that property. And I would say, since I noticed you just listed a fix and flip today on the MLS, that means you're probably ready for your next buy. I have your next project. Where would you like me to send the details?
Amazing.
If you couldn't find a buyer using one of those three techniques, then go scrape the tax records or I don't know what other else thing you want to do, but I can tell you, one of those techniques will have your buyer in it.
Love it. Back to the prop stream deal that I did with Burton. Guys, that training about heat maps and finding buyers, right there. I'm throwing it in there one last time for you guys to go take a look at. It's a free training. For those of you who watched that training with my son Asher, please let everybody know in the comments that I did not sell you anything. I'm not trying to get you into a webinar, none of that boring, lame stuff. Just gave free game, like really, really in-depth fun stuff. Like I did, again, 20 hours. I had multiple Zooms that were like 4 or 5 hours long, a couple that were 2-3 hours long. That one is just 2 hours long, all about finding buyers. So go find that. Okay. So, Jamil, Peyton Burke says, how do I find a local Keegley in my area?
Just send me a DM on Instagram. I'm working on a directory that's on a web form or like on a that you can access on the internet. But for now, just send me a DM on Instagram at @JDamji, and Nino in my messages will direct traffic to the correct Keegley office.
Love it. Okay. Here's another one in Costa Mesa, California. Want to do one in California?
For sure.
It's a duplex. While you're pulling that up, it's one unit is a 2-bed, 2-bath. The other unit is a 1-bed, 1-bath, but it is crazy spacious, which I don't think really makes a difference, honestly.
I would really like to know the rents, because I'm going to look at this based off of it, the property value. But then, on a duplex, the value is determined by what these properties rent out at. So that's going to be a piece of information we need.
Love it.
What's the address? Oh, I got it.
It is
1578 San Bernardino
Place, Costa Mesa, California. Liam Keen says, Pace, what is this meeting for Flip Me? The meeting for Flip Me is all about the sweepstakes that Jamil and I are doing to choose a winner of somebody who's going to do a fix and flip with Jamil, myself, Rahima, Jamil's sister, and my wife, Laura. We're going to be doing a fix and flip together and giving away all the proceeds on that. Jamil, what do you got, brother? You do a screen share. I want to pop your shiz up on top of the screen.
Oh, you can't see that? Sorry, bud.
No worries. Jamil, I feel like you just opened up a Keegley franchise in Alabama. Did you not?
We did.
Okay. When you get a chance, is there a possible way we can share that with Chris James?
If he just sends me a DM, I'll be able to get the info to him, because I don't have it just sitting on my phone. But that would be the most expeditious way to get him that detail.
Efren Sanchez says, more info on Subject 2, a mobile home. Efren Sanchez, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/PaceMorby. And I have a specific episode on Subject 2ing a mobile home. We probably own 20, 30 mobile homes Subject 2 and seller finance. Some of them I've actually bought from Brent Daniels himself. Go watch those. We don't typically talk about creative finance on Wholesale Hotline. I talk about that on Sunday Service, which is my podcast on Sunday evenings. What do you got on this? 2.9 million for a freaking duplex, bro?
Yo, check this out. 2.9 million. The Zestimate on it is 2.8. It's listed. It's been available for 268 days.
That's
legal
a lot.
Duplex. Yeah, dude.
What does that tell you in a market like this?
It tells me that this is so ridiculously overpriced that it's that these sellers don't have a clue what is real and what's not. When something is sitting, look at this, 1,998 views in almost a year, and look at how many people saved it. 17. You remember that last property that we looked at, and I said, oh wow, it had been viewed 378 times and it had been saved like 40 times.
Yeah, the ratio
in one day.
The ratio was like 13%.
Right. You see this ratio here?
1%.
Not even 1%. So immediately I'm starting to create the mind of this probably is completely overpriced. But let's look at the information here. All one structure, separated as 2-bedroom, 2.5 baths in the main living space, rented for $4,000 with a separate entrance, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square foot guest unit mother-in-law that rents for $2,000. So just based off of rents, for every $4,000 you get in rent in California, it's worth $1 million. So right off the hop, I can tell you, based off of rents, this property is worth $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, look at what they're listed at. So double that. Now let's look at the map and see if their number is justified there.
A lot of ones in there.
A lot of ones.
So they're dramatically overpriced.
They're just dramatically overpriced. Let's see if there's any twos here that we can look at.
I don't even think I would touch that on seller finance. Even at 0% interest, I don't think I would buy that.
No, they're look at this at 2.3. Okay, what did you get? What do you get for $2.3 million?
Holy shnikes, that's dope.
Fully remodeled, 6,000 square feet. Mind you, this is 2 years ago. But when you're talking in this luxury price point, the values don't increase extremely rapidly. So it's just something to keep in mind. What's this 2.1 here?
Daryl Ellison says the Fizbo Chronicles.
So check this out. This is completely remodeled, 2,100 square feet. So it's about 1,000 square feet smaller. But this tells you that at fully remodeled, look at the remodel in here, Pace. It's like what we do, right? Check this out. It's gorgeous, right?
Yeah,
did a good job.
Yeah.
So they're at about $1,000 a square foot, right? Isn't that what that works out to? Hold on.
I think so.
So if we're going to say at $1,000 a square foot remodeled, then yes, that property would be worth $2.9 million remodeled. So what do you need to buy it at in order for it to be a deal? Under $2 million, 1.8, 1.9. That's where I'd be. Based off the income, it's worth 1.5. Based off of remodeling it, it's worth 1.8. They're $1 million out to lunch.
Here's a good question for you, Jamil. I have a property I'm negotiating direct to seller. What sort of deduction should I take off for a septic tank that's shared with the next door neighbor? And can a property like that even be wholesaled?
That's a hard one. So the septic tank is shared with the next door neighbor. Chi, what's up, my brother? I would wonder is it impossible to get a separate septic on this property? I think sharing a septic with another neighbor makes that, it's an easement. Whatever that is, it's going to be an easement, right? And so easements are difficult to wholesale because there's an ambiguity on ownership. Who's got to clean the septic? Hey, what happens if the septic breaks? Whose responsibility is it? What if somebody's putting into the septic tank items that shouldn't be in the septic tank? Whose responsibility is it then? Right? So you see all these things I'm bringing up right now are going to be things your buyer is going to think about if they look at this as a potential wholesale deal. So they're not going to want to really be interested in buying it with that shared septic tank. So what I would do if I was you, Chi, is I'd want to find out, is it possible to get my own septic tank on this property? And what's the cost of that installation going to be? And am I buying this property at a price that can absorb that cost and still make a profit for a potential buyer?
What if you just add a septic tank?
That's what I mean. If they added their own septic tank, that way we don't have to worry about this whole shared business.
Interesting.
Do you know, Pace, from your history in construction, what it costs to install a septic tank?
Yeah, I'm doing like 4 of them right now. Because I just bought a mobile home park that's all on cesspool.
Ugh.
They're all cesspools. The potty just goes directly into the dirt. So we're adding those. The cost for a plastic one is about $6,000 to $8,000 to excavate, get a permit, replace, put the dirt back on it. If you want a concrete one, you're looking anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000, depending on the city and the going rate in those areas, competition, etc. It's not dramatically expensive. It's a pain in the butt, and you do have to get a permit, and you have to get all these other things. It wouldn't be the end of a deal for sure. I'm not afraid of them. I probably have installed, I'd probably say 50 septic tanks in my life. So I'm not afraid of them. It's just plopping a big round tank in the ground. But they sound nasty and people don't want to deal with them. And so if you're looking for low hanging fruit, that's probably not a low hanging fruit of a deal that you're going to just knock out of the park right away.
Right. I like Fernando's question. Fernando Garcia asked, did you see that one up there?
I'm looking right now.
He said, Jamil, when you dispo a property for another wholesaler, is it an exclusive JV or can the wholesaler still find a buyer themselves? And Fernando, it really depends. We have two different types of JVs or option agreements that we use. One is exclusive when one is non-exclusive. I would never say that in the beginning of a relationship with a new wholesaler that I would ask for an exclusivity. In fact, I want to show how much value I bring to the table by selling the property faster than that wholesaler could do themselves and for more money. And so I will always start with a non-exclusive agreement. And then as we become better and better business associates, we move into a more exclusive relationship. It's like, if we first go on a date, we don't go steady until, date 3.
Or at least an hour into the date. It depends on how the date's going, and I'm sure if there's alcohol involved, right? Okay, here's one. D. Otta says, Pace, my partner's been communicating with the seller by email. Says they can't hear. Made a VA offer by email for a black mold riddled house. He responded to my partner, suggestions on. Okay, it looks like you're going to be giving me more information. You must have got more stuff coming. Hey guys, while I've got your ear and you're paying attention, please look in the side chat. I just dropped a YouTube link to my 26-hour live. I've got a 26-hour live going on Monday. I'm going to be going through the ABCs of real estate. Okay. Literally A all the way through Z of real estate. And I'm going to keep it super basic. And I'm going to give you guys everything you need to go out and get your own deal. And we're going to start with A is analysis paralysis. We're going to show you guys how to get over the analysis paralysis. And then B, I'm not going to even get into all of the letters, but just know that every hour is going to be dedicated to one letter of the alphabet. Okay. 1 hour is going to be dedicated to one letter of the alphabet. I'm going to go 26 hours straight. I'm starting at 3 a.m. in the morning, Sunday morning, and I'm going to go all the way until Monday morning at 5 a.m. Okay. And the reason I'm doing this is because I get so many people ask me, how do I get started in real estate? How do I get started in real estate? How do I get started in real estate? And now I can say, here's a 26-hour training that I went through, literally the A to Z. If you're not willing to go through that, then I don't know what I can do to help you. So I'm doing it to provide value, obviously, but I want to do it with you guys. I want to have a challenge, something fun for me, and provide value to you guys. So that is the link I just shared with you guys. Please go to my YouTube channel and press the reminder on there so that you guys get notified when I go live. Let's see. How do you physically prepare for a 26-hour live? What you do is you have a TV premiere with your best friend the day before. Then you teach at his mastermind. Then you have a night meetup with sub 2 Astro and TTP students. And then you go to bed at like 11. You wake up at 3 and you crush it for 26 hours straight. Let's go.
You guys, I always thought there was something, he must be drinking coffee, espresso. I know that we all know that Pace loves to drink Monsters, but I literally hung out with this guy. And, Pace and I, we always hung out, but we hung out for 6 months every day. And I can tell you, I don't know another human being with this man's level of energy. I don't.
I just love what we do, man. I just feel so blessed to be able to hang out like all the time with my best friend, our other best friends, and be in this business. It's just like one day back at high school, just hanging out with all the homies. It's so great. Brian Catalan says, can I come over for the 25-hour live? Brian, you are a sub-2 student. You are more than welcome. Stop by my house. I'll be doing it right here in my studio. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it in like one of my other rooms. I'm not quite sure. I'll set it up, but maybe I'll have like a live audience so you guys can come in and watch me do the 26-hour live. You are more than welcome to do that if you are a sub-2 or Astro student. Andrew P says, true friendship. I'd say so.
That it is.
You know, that's the thing is like when you're grown men, the main thing that a good friend does for another friend of his is we're constantly thinking, how do I help my friend make more money? How do I help my friend's star rise? How do I make sure my friend has better resources than he had last month? We're constantly pushing and helping each other out. Even relationships that we go find outside of our relationship, I bring them to Jamil and vice versa, right? Jamil is my battle buddy, right? We go to battle together, and you guys really, really need to be doing that as well. Christopher James says, rare to find. I think it goes back to this. T. Douglas says, that's great, Pace. I love your guys' energy. That's the thing, is the energy, right? Jamil, you know more about energy. You can articulate this more. How do I find a Jamil in my life? How do I find a Pace in my life?
You have to be that. You have to be it first. Here's the thing. This is the issue. This is the biggest conundrum we have in life, is that we want it before we work for it. We always want it before we work for it. But if you want to attract a business partnership or a friendship, collaborator into your space, into your field of awareness, you have to be what you're looking for in the other person. So it starts with you. It doesn't start with outside of you. It doesn't start with, I've got to go find, my road dog. No. It starts with being a badass. It starts with being as high-minded as possible. It starts with being as abundantly clear with your intentions and your goals and what you're looking for, and then taking action towards receiving that you will then bring into your space. So you'll be in rooms, or you will run into folks, or people will, you guys, look, here's a fact of my life. Every amazing thing that's ever happened to me came to me. Pace slid into my DMs.
That is very true.
He slid into my DMs. Right? And again, were we a perfect match? Yes. Did we have to meet? Yes. Were we destined to do great things? 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. But if I wasn't ready to meet Pace at a level of understanding and at a level of friendship and in caring in the way that he is, and I know you guys all see he's a very generous, caring human being. If I wasn't able to match that, how long do you think, or would Pace and I have been able to even cultivate a real friendship? No,
not at all.
There's no way.
Not at all. And the thing is too, there's seasons in life too. Jamil, do you ever feel like you've ever had friends in the past that like maybe don't match your frequency in terms of like the level of motivation you have to take over the world and do big things? And how do I handle that? Let's say I have a friend from high school or college that I've been running with, but I feel like their motivation level is different than mine. Do I lower my level to them? Do I drag them along the way, or do I do something else? Is there any advice you have with that?
Oh man, I got tons. So first and foremost, if you're running with them, then you might be in some delusions if you think you're doing more than them or you're better than them. Because the fact is that if you're still in that relationship, then there are parts of your consciousness that are resonating with the consciousness of the person who doesn't want to do shit. That's the fact, right? So it has nothing to do with running away from your friend. It has to do with running into yourself. I'll say this, and I'm going to say this until the day I die. Self-introspection, taking an opportunity to get to know the nooks and crannies of yourself, either through meditation or some form of self-analysis, is going to pay you dividends, millions of dollars, because you're going to know where you're not going right and where you need to make adjustments and pivots. And this isn't about having judgment against the people you went to high school with that don't have as much motivation as you. This has nothing to do with them. This has to do with you. Here's the thing. People that vibrate in a low way can't stand being around people that vibrate in a high way. They can't stand it. You cannot have that kind of darkness and that kind of light. It doesn't work. Either they will transform and meet you where you are, or they will fall off themselves.
Some wise stuff. People are loving that. That's good stuff.
It's what it is, man. It's, I've just been through it, man. I've been through this in such a real way, and I've seen the worst of myself, and I've seen the best of myself, and I know that both of them exist, and I get to decide. I choose every single day to wake up and be my best self or to be my shit self. Doesn't mean that there's not one there. All of you have it. Even Pace, you got it. Everybody's got it. Everybody has a shadow. You choose. You choose to live in light or to be in your shadow. That's all. It's totally your choice.
Jamil, here's a good question. Michael Diaz says, what would it take for me to get on Wholesale Hotline?
Michael, we want you on Wholesale Hotline. So what would it take? What would it take, Pace?
I would
Michael's
say
dope.
I would say the biggest thing that gets me excited to have somebody on Wholesale Hotline is not necessarily somebody who's doing like Scott Oots numbers, right? Like $400,000, $500,000 a month. I love Scott Oots because I love Scott Oots. He's a good friend. He cares about you and I love his energy. I love the way he treats his employees. I think it's more about like what you're talking about, the vibration of that human being. So Michael Diaz, what I would do is I would serve somebody in the Wholesale Hotline community, and I would squat up with them on a deal, and we will bring you on Wholesale Hotline and you talk about the deal you did with somebody in the side comments or in the Facebook group, etc.
That's it. Michael, that's 1000% it. Squat up with somebody, bring that situation or bring that story to us, and we will put you on Wholesale Hotline. Guaranteed.
Yes. Jamil, you've got, let me see if I'm going to go to your YouTube real quick and see if I can, I'm wondering if your team has already set up Straight Outta Compton for next week.
Emily typically does.
Not yet, but guys, here's what I want you to do. I want you guys to go to youtube.com/JamilDamG. I'm going to give you guys a side in the side. If you guys have properties you need comped, every Sunday at 5 p.m., Jamil Damji goes live on his YouTube channel. I might convince him. I'm not sure if I will be able to, but I might convince Jamil to come on the 26-hour live on Sunday right before he does his Straight Outta Comping, and he does a little comping session with me on the 26-hour live. Not quite sure if he's up for that, but I'll text him about it. I'll ask for permission. But if regardless, every Sunday, Jamil goes live 5 p.m. Arizona time. And that is for an hour. Is that an hour and a half?
It's an hour on Sundays.
Okay. Give me some tips. Give me some tips. If I'm coming to you with some comps, because I know one thing, for example, like multifamily, if I've got multifamily stuff, what should I be bringing to you above and beyond the address?
Just the rents.
Can you comp a multifamily without rents properly?
No.
Okay, cool. So
I'm going to be comping it based on the structure, and it's not going to be an accurate number. See, in the last one we did that was in Southern California, that was a standalone house that was separated as an up and down duplex. But I was able to get a number based off the rents, and then I'm able to get a number based off the structure. So I like to give you both numbers because I think it's important that you understand that from an income approach as well as a structure approach, which is what an appraiser would do in a multifamily property.
Chris James, here's some advice. He says, I tried last night. I posted the address like 5 times and I never got comped. Chris, here's a little secret. Compliment Jamil. Okay. Give him a big fat compliment in the side chat.
Well,
That's
thing
what I
about
do.
it. Yeah.
When I come on his show and I'm on the side chat, I'm like, yo, what'd you have for dinner? Tell me what you had for, I'm like asking him funny questions and I'm getting his attention. There's a lot of people that want their addresses comped. So what I would do a lot of times is if the address is complete and you got a little bit of a sound bite of what's going on with the address, Jamil will typically choose those over people that give like halfway done addresses or maybe no context whatsoever. So I would say address, and I'm direct to seller on this, need a blah, 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 blah. Give him a little context and there's a higher likelihood that he'll pick you.
Also, say something nice to Emily because she's actually the ones in the chat that's I'm just comping. She's selecting the addresses. So say, hey, Emily, you look really nice today. Here's an address.
Yes.
Yes. Tell me you have wings. Let's see if we can get Chris James's address here before we call it a day. What do you say, Pacer?
Chris James, if you want to get an address comp, let's do it.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Okay, cool. Guys, as he's pulling that up, I just want to wrap up the show. We will comp this address before we go, but I just want to wrap up the show by saying thank you guys so much for the support. Somebody a little bit earlier made a comment in the side and said, how do you guys have so much like passion with all the money that you guys, oh, here it is, Kevin R. How do you guys have so much drive, even with all the money you guys make? Do you guys push each other? Guys, Kevin, here's the thing. There's two types of income in the world. Income number one is the one that everybody thinks about. It's financial income. The second income is something that Jamil and I are seeking at a high level, and it's called emotional income. We get high levels of emotional income by watching you guys win, you guys succeed. And for us, if you could give me a thank you and a hug versus a $10,000 check right now in my life, I'm going to take a thank you and a hug all day long. The money is no longer the motivation. The emotional income is the motivation. And that's the frequency that Jamil and I are on. And we feel like we've just freaking started.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeking emotional income above all else. We want to see people win, and we want to feel the fruits of our labor of helping you guys get there.
You know, the thing is that when Pace and I depart this amazing planet, we're not going to take our money with us. But we will take the blessings you give us.
I'll take the hugs.
That's it. Let's check this house out.
Share your screen. Don't forget to share your screen.
Sorry about that. So it looks as though it's probably a 2-bed, 1-bath just based off the 840 square feet, but Zillow's a little bit shy on data. It doesn't give us his estimate either, and the 2020 assessed value was 19.5, which doesn't mean a lot. But let's look at the quick comps. Here's our subject. I don't like comping. I don't like looking at these properties across Maine, so I'm going to start at number 1. Check that. Look at this, Pace. Look at this. Across Main Street, look at the value difference that we're seeing. 245, 108.
Oh my gosh.
70, 108, and then you look
Is that because it crosses a main road?
That's the difference between what happens over here and what happens over here.
Isn't that crazy? It's like stepping into Narnia, bro.
Right? So now we know that. We can see that Main Street's a major thing here, and we want to stay on this side of Main Street. So what's this 76? I bet you this is a bulk deal because this doesn't even 3280 square feet. It's probably some like a multi-pack that somebody bought. Same with this 214. That doesn't make any sense. But let's check out this 49K. So look at that. 1540 square feet sold for 50 grand. Our subject is 840.
Dang.
Ooh, here's a nice sale. Here's a nice sale from 17,924 square feet. So even though that's from 19, I'm not seeing that there's been a lot more going on around here. We'll just check a couple more, and it still seemed to be pretty low in their values. We got a 15. Got a 9.2. Oh, wow. These things get super cheap. And I think this is going to be on the high side. You got 31K on the high side. So this is what I would do if I was you. I'd buy that thing for $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I think your ARV is about 40.
Love it. Jamil, you and I are sitting next to each other in the airplane tomorrow, all the way to Tampa, Florida.
All the way to Tampa, Florida, bro.
First
How
time
fun is that going to
you
be?
and I have traveled in 6 months, dude.
Crazy.
Crazy. Half a year.
Aren't you? You got the itch, bro?
I got the itch. I know you've gotten out to Cali a couple times with the family, but this is your and my first time in traveling since Key West 6 months ago.
I'm pumped.
Freaking pumped. So guys, we love you guys. We appreciate you tremendously. We will see you multiple times this week. Sub 2 students and Astro students, you know you're going to get some amazing Q&As and you're going to get some amazing Zooms with us this week. Astro students with Jamil, Sub 2 students with me. Also, I'm going to be doing a 26-hour live on Sunday. Jamil will be doing his comping session on Sunday as well. And then Cody will be not doing Sunday service with me on Sunday because we're going to be doing Sunday service on the 26-hour live. So guys, please stay tuned. We appreciate you guys. We will see you next week on Wholesale Hotline.
Don't forget to watch our show.
Or just say squat up.
So squat.
Don't forget, hey guys, don't forget to watch our show on A&E Saturday. What time is the show?
Noon.
Noon, guys. We'll see you later.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.